is Dubs OT.
Can't wait.
With John Dickinson.
Hey, JD, what you up to, sugar? Long time no talk to.
On KNBR 104.5 and 680. Streaming live at KNBR.com and on the KNBR app.
Kogi for Bradley Beal. Missing that three. What a win for the Dubs. Oh, man, did they need one. 109-105. Their 21st clutch game, and it's win number 9 in that situation. They even the season series at 1-1 with the Suns. And the Warriors, heartbreaker on Christmas. Back end of a back-to-back. Kuminga, career high last night, equals his career high and ties it tonight.
Yeah, huge game for Jonathan Kuminga and a huge win for the Golden State Warriors, as you hear Fitz and Kalenda there on NBC Sports Bay Area. We welcome you in to Dubs OT with JD here on KNBR, the sports leader. Warriors 109, Suns 105. So the Warriors' little losing streak stopped here, and they're back to above 500, 16-15 after dropping 12 of the last 15 to fall all the way back to 500 coming into this one. And wow, what a much needed Warrior victory here in this one in the building behind me as we are coming to you from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. Stop by, say hi. Appreciate everybody watching here from Harmonic. And of course, as always, appreciate everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch as well. A lively chat already here. As we had a little bit of an extended gap between when the game ended and when we got everything going here from Harmonic Brewing because of the Cardinals and Rams game won by the Rams down in Southern California. So 808 KNBR is the number, 415-808-5627 as the Warriors win it. And it's a game flat out, straight up. They don't win without Jonathan Kuminga having, I think, the best game or most impactful game of his career when, scoring 34 points, right? He does it consecutive nights off the bench, but much more meaningful tonight because of all of the conversation about how his best 2 career games and games of the season in terms of scoring had come in 2 games where Stephen Curry and Draymond Green were not playing. And so Steph was out there tonight, Draymond back tonight after the night off down in Inglewood last night, and he contributed in a major way, scoring, rebounding, getting to the free throw line, at times even defending against Kevin Durant, tough buckets, and enough made free throws as he got to the line 12 times down the stretch for the Warriors to earn themselves a victory. 109-105, the final there. So career night for Kuminga on a second consecutive night as he equaled his career high with 34 points. The Warriors were going to him on the inside. He hit a couple of threes, as is the case when he performs at this level. But a lot of it was free throws, and a lot of it was on the interior tonight, and doing it in ways that really are beneficial and complementary to the rest of the Warriors' output and skill set of players. 10 of 14 in the paint for Jonathan Kuminga. 10 of 14 in the paint. 8 of 12 free throws, which might as well be paint points because he's basically getting fouled when he goes in there and teams can't handle him in there. And he was a handful for the Suns really since the moment he got inserted into the game in the first quarter. 8 of 12 at the line. So basically 28 points for Kuminga of his 34 in the paint or at the line. He did hit a couple of threes in 5 attempts, but he also rebounded the basketball tonight. There were times where he was called upon to need to be a playmaker and had 3 assists in the game tonight. And, tonight is really, I think, the template for how it has to look. And look, I don't think we have to do what we always do when Jonathan Kuminga plays well, because let's be honest, this is not the first time Jonathan Kuminga has ever had a great game in his NBA career. And here's the other reality. this is not the first time that Jonathan Kuminga has had a great game in his NBA career with Stephen Curry and Draymond Green that's led to a Warriors win. So I don't feel like there was some ceiling broken or anything with what he was able to do. Now, I know a lot of the recent conversation was, can he get into that high 20s, low 30s without Steph or with Steph and Draymond being a part of the action? And I think tonight shows that he can. But it shows that he can if it works out the way that it worked out tonight with the kinds of shots and the areas on the floor that he was really operating from. So excellent night for Kuminga. And look, this is flat out the kind of game that if you're the Warriors, it is the reason why they have been reluctant to look to trade him, even though for anything other than basically a superstar that's going to be coming back the other way. This is why I think they would tell you that they have not made a trade for a Cam Johnson or a Siakam or, very good players, but guys who are not of that superstar ilk. Now, will push come to shove at some point for the Warriors between now and February 6th where they feel they have to make that kind of a move? I'll tell you the one thing games like tonight do for Jonathan Kuminga and for the Warriors, they bump up that trade value at a minimum. But tonight's not about bumping up the trade value. That last night was more, I think, about bumping up the trade value in a game that you lost and really never felt like you truly had a chance to win. Tonight, he impacted winning in the best ways possible, and the Warriors wound up getting themselves that win against a team that they're fighting for right now in the Western Conference. So best couple of nights in terms of numbers for Kuminga, 10 boards, 5 assists last night. Tonight, 12 of 20 field goals, 9 boards. He was as impactful a player on the court for the Warriors tonight. They get beaten easily tonight if Jonathan Kuminga doesn't play at the level that he played at tonight. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. That is the phone number to give us a call here or shoot us a text on Dubs OT with JD out at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. As the Warriors get the win over the Phoenix Suns, 109-105, the final in this one. Excellent Jonathan Kuminga game. And again, I think the template for how this thing can work moving forward is a lot of those possessions on the interior. It coincides with, Nurkic was out, so it allowed Steve Kerr to play smaller with more Draymond Green at the 5, more Jonathan Kuminga at the 4, which is really how this thing has to function. I mean, we're beyond the is he a 4, is he a 3 thing. Like, everybody now acknowledges he's a 4. Everybody knows he's a 4. He played the 4 every second he was on the court tonight. But it really comes down to Draymond Green's willingness and ability to play a lot of center, and whether or not Kuminga starts or not. Because if Kuminga is going to start, he's going to have to start at the 4 with Draymond at the 5 to make everything work. Hey, what's going on? Appreciate you stopping by and saying hi here at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. The one thing I don't think we need to do tonight, and we can talk about the trade value component of it. We can talk about how tonight is an example of why you would want to hang on to a player like Jonathan Kuminga. I mean, that is just the storyline of the night. The one thing we don't, and I don't think should do following a game like tonight, is what I think happens a lot whenever Kuminga plays well, is the conversation shifts to, can he be a superstar? Is he going to be a number 2 next to Steph? Can he be a franchise player in the years beyond Steph? Like, tonight isn't about that. He played a great game in a role that fits this team this season. To me, it needs to be more about that than the ceiling, because if he can prove that he can be a contributor the ways that he was a contributor in this game tonight, then you don't necessarily have to go out and make some kind of a big move involving him. But that doesn't necessarily mean a night like tonight that he's going to be anointed and be a superstar. That's the part of the equation that that frustrates me. Is great game, big win, He was a huge part of it. Best player on the floor for the Warriors tonight. I don't care what the plus minus says, but it shouldn't be an anointment like it felt like it was, a couple of weeks ago, because he is still a young player that's growing into his own and is going to have ups and downs. And the Warriors are going to have to navigate those ups and downs and how much it leads to them winning versus losing in this stretch where they have to figure out what their season is going to be. Big thanks to Julia for stopping by and saying hi, and cheers to everyone out here on this fine Saturday night as we bring the stream up, and cheers to our buddy Kyle Haar in our San Francisco studios. So 808 KNBR 415-808-5627. And bottom line is, whether the Warriors make a trade or not, whether Kuminga is a part of that trade or not in the lead up here to the deadline, the Warriors needed a win tonight here in the final two games of 2024 before things flip to 2025. Some other thoughts on this one. Warriors did win a clutch game. I think Steve Kerr gets a lot of credit for the out-of-bounds play that he ran with the Warriors down by a point and a little over 29 seconds to go. That was a hell of a play, because at that point you're thinking it's going to be awfully tough to get a 2-for-1 if you're the Warriors with a 4 or 5 second differential. And really the only way you can do it is if you throw the ball right in and get a shot attempt up almost immediately. And the inbounds play to get Kuminga the ball with KD on his back, basically ready to get fouled. That was an exceptional ATO for Steve Kerr and company. Kuminga gets to the line, makes the 2 free throws to put the Warriors ahead. He split a pair late with the Warriors up by 3 to put the game away at 109-105. Also, I thought the Warriors' defense was excellent in the fourth quarter and down the stretch. There was a period of time in this game from about the 5-minute mark till about a minute, 2 minutes to go, about 2 minutes to go. The Warriors were just flying around defensively and really contesting and really making the Phoenix Suns work. And, they made Kevin Durant work for it tonight. Yes, he had 31 points, but he took 24 shots to get those 31 points. Bradley Beal was cooking early. He ended up needing 24 shots to get his 28 points. And when it's all said and done, the Warriors wound up winning the battle of the threes on a night where Andrew Wiggins struggled. Steph was hot for a stretch, but ended up 4 of 13, and they got nothing from Buddy Hield or Dennis Schroeder at the three-point line, although Schroeder made a huge one. How about this? Schroeder and Buddy Hield combined 1 of 14 from 3, but Schroeder with a huge 3 after Wiggins got his 3 from the corner block that gave the Warriors the lead. Schroeder, for all of the things that he's been maligned here in these last couple of weeks for not being, or a little over a week since joining the Warriors, he was a pest tonight. He was in the mix tonight. He still can't buy a bucket from deep, but he was the guy that I think we've seen the Warriors have go up against them at different points, where some dogged defense and hustling around and being a pest. Curry couldn't buy a dagger down the stretch. Warriors had 4 chances on one play with a couple of tips. Wiggins then fouled Durant on the rebound. You're thinking, oh my goodness, are the Warriors really going to lose this game on a loose ball foul with Durant going to the line? But again, excellent ATO drawn up by the Warriors and by Kerr. Excellent defense down the stretch. Career game from Jonathan Kuminga in terms of scoring and numbers and impact toward winning and who he did it out there with. And it all adds up to a 109-105 Golden State Warriors victory in this one over the Phoenix Suns. Let's get Jack, our tip-off caller of the night here. 808 KNBR 415-808-5627. Jack joining the conversation here on the Sports Leader. What's going on tonight, Jack?
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking the call. Hey, I'm an old guy, and I've watched Warriors basketball for, I don't know, when dinosaurs ruled the earth. And try to explain something to me. I listen to all the podcasts. I'm a sports junkie, and I follow basketball. I played basketball. I coach basketball, and I'm looking at the word adaption, similar to Kyle Shanahan and Steve Kerr. And what I don't get is, are they like shy because of the Wiseman experience, an experiment, whatever you want to call that, have failed? Why, in God's green earth, have they not been able to draft and or trade for or develop a menacing center? And I'll tell you why I say this. Maybe they've had approaches and they've failed, but there's no way this team is going anywhere without an intimidating big man. Even when they had serviceable, very serviceable centers. David West, Zaza, Bogert, the list goes on. And they still were able to play three ball. So, I don't know if Kerr and Dunleavy really want what I want, but
they don't.
When you have Draymond Green, who's 6'6" at the most, playing defensive center, and you've got 5,000 guards on the roster,
I know
you're going to get exactly what you built. So please explain to me why they don't have a center.
Jack, thanks for the call. Well, they like the centers they have, and they would tell you they do have a center in Trayce Jackson-Davis. But again, he's in the 6'9", 6'10" category as opposed to the 7-foot category. They like Kevon Looney, who is not someone that's obviously above 7 feet tall. But tonight is a perfect example. And look, Trayce Jackson-Davis played well tonight. 16 points, 10 boards. They needed all of his points as the starting center to allow Draymond Green to at least start at the 4. He played 23 minutes tonight, TJD did, and played some with Kuminga at the 4. Tonight, though, is not the night to complain about not having a big man, because if the Warriors had a big man that they loved, it would probably mean less minutes for Jonathan Kuminga at the 4. Like, it's all tied together. So, sure, would they love to have a 7-footer? Of course, but you can't just have a 7-footer that's out there being a stiff, clogging things up. He's got to have more of a skill than that. And Andrew Bogut, great screen setter, exceptional passer, probably one of the top 3 to 5 passing big men, probably top 5 passing big man in NBA history. When you start looking at guys like Bill Walton and Sabonis' dad and Jokic and Vlade Divac would be another one. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's up there of that ilk, maybe not quite in that realm of the other guys that I mentioned, but in the next group. So he had an offensive skill set that played with the open flow and passing and ball movement and all of those things, in addition to being a clogger and a defender and all of those things. If they could get somebody with that skill set, I think they would love it. But those guys aren't just readily available throughout the course of the league. And so, again, does this team need a big? Sure. But if they get a big, it limits Draymond and Kuminga's ability to flourish in the ways that they have to flourish. And tonight is a perfect example of that. Tonight is, Kuminga does not do what he does if Draymond Green isn't at the center. So if you have another center that you want to be playing or is so damn good that you got to get him on the court, then that's going to limit these closing lineups, because Jonathan Kuminga is not a 3. Now, maybe if you come up with a center that can shoot the 3, you can reevaluate and revisit that. But it's all connected. And they love Looney as a defender. They love Looney as a rebounder. They like Trayce Jackson-Davis as somebody who can protect the paint. And I think they're hoping his ability to score on the interior more regularly is improved throughout the course of his career. But they like the bigs that they've got. And the NBA today very few teams have bigs that play the 25 to 30 to 35 minutes. You're talking about the Jokic's and the Sabonises and guys like that. And I think even if they got a Bobby Portis, or even if they went and got a Vucevic or somebody like that, Miles Turner, those players would still be only in that 25-minute range on a lot of nights, because you'd want to be closing the game on a night where Kuminga's got to go in with Draymond Green at the center. And look, I think offensively, the Curry, Schroeder, Wiggins, Kuminga, Draymond Green lineup works. Defensively at times, I mean, you got to fly around and really be rugged if it's going to work. At times, even in this game, you saw where the offense was flowing with that group playing a lot, but the Warriors were still getting beat defensively, just not a defensive lineup that made the game sustainable. Down the stretch when they were playing that group, they were far more active than they had been really in any other points in the game in terms of their overall defense. So appreciate the call, but I think tonight's the kind of night where you look at it, and again, Nurkic getting suspended for the events of last night opens up more of the ability to play smaller and have it be successful against this Suns team, although Plumlee hurt him at times, although TJD hurt Plumlee at times. But again, this is how it has to operate. The answer tonight is not go find a big and kick everybody down a rung in terms of the position that they're playing. If anything, tonight is indicative of why this team should probably continue to look to have to play smaller. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. It is Dubs OT with JD here on KNBR, the sports leader. Cheers from Harmonic Brewing. Let's dive into the YouTube chat right as the game went final. Rebel to Sounds. Yeah, one of the highlights of the night, Draymond going viral on social media, cursing out Buddy Hield. Wake the bleep up or sit the bleep down. Did I get that right, Kyle Har? I was doing it off of memory. Wake the bleep up or sit the bleep down. And yeah, rough night for Buddy Hield in this game. Did he end up with a complete goose egg? Yes, he did. 0 for 7, all from three-point range. Draymond was on one tonight. And I think Steph and Draymond both set the tone early tonight. Yes, off of a night off, but also they're just at a different level when they see KD. Like they just, especially when KD comes into chase, and we saw it last year on the night before the Super Bowl, there's just a level of intensity that those guys don't or can't bring on a night in, night out basis because of their age. That is there. They wanted to beat KD tonight. And I thought they set a tone of competitiveness that really lasted throughout the night. And look, Draymond, incredible with the leadership. I think we will call it. Wake the bleep up or sit the bleep down, and that's been something throughout Buddy Hield's career that has been an issue for him. Now, look, they need Buddy Hield to make some freaking three-pointers or sit the bleep down. To use the Draymond vernacular as far as that goes. Estimated eyes, I'm glad we won, but no Booker. Who cares tonight? I mean, I get it. No Booker, no Porzingis in Boston, right? No Jaylen Brown in Boston. I get it. No Holmgren when they beat Oklahoma City, but I don't want to hear about any of that. Don't want to hear about any of that. Clickbait. What can JD talk about JK now? Well, you give him credit for having a great game. It ain't rocket science. It ain't hard. You give the guy credit when he plays well, and he played exceptionally well tonight. It's not. There's no conspiracy. ZH, I love you, JD. Appreciate it. We love you here in the Dubs OT community. Andis Brown, Suns rely on KD to put on the cape too much. KD doesn't get good looks. He had to create his own good shots. That's tough. Yeah, they made KD work. They made KD work without a doubt. And it will be a completely different story, as a few people are saying, against the Cavs on Monday. But again, who cares? Cavs are 27-4. Are they going to win 70 games? No. I'm going to take the under on 70 for the Cleveland Cavaliers, but they're off to an exceptional all-time start. They've got bigs and lengths and wings and all of those things. You roll the balls out and let the chips fall where they may on Monday. JK unleashed it tonight. He unleashed it tonight. And no clickbait, I do not hate JK. Again, this is foolish. GSW Vera. Now, does tonight mean you keep him or make him a franchise player? It's part of the conversation as to whether you keep him. I think it's definitely part of the conversation as to the kinds of players you'd be willing to move for him. But that's the part, and Joke's on You writes this team is maddening. 3 days ago, trade Kuminga. Today, it's Curry turnovers. What will it be tomorrow? Stay tuned, and we'll find out, although I think the Warriors are taking tomorrow off, so it should be kind of a quiet Sunday with no 49er game and the Warriors coming off of a back-to-back. Gene McIntyre, Kuminga is going to be elite. Gene is actually the one that led me to say, hey, we don't have to do this every time he plays well. Like every time he plays well, we can just say he played great. He helped them win. He did it in a way that I do think is sustainable. Our buddy Chip Tingle on Twitter, he said flat out, and he's joined the YouTube chat at different points, hey, this is sustainable what JK did tonight. I think to a certain extent it is, because he came off the bench, he played the 4. A lot of it was on the interior. It was with Steph and Draymond. And again, tonight's not the first night Kuminga's ever played well with Steph and Draymond. Like, it's not like this was some revelation. It was just that he had his best 2 games scoring this season with both of those guys out. Estimated eyes, we're all in a love-hate relationship with JK. We're fans. No Booker, no Nurkic. Fair to point out, San Jose Jazz fan 4. Yeah, Nurkic and Dre are always must-see. Our buddy Andis Brown. GSW Vera, maybe I have to cool off the JK slander. Look, if he plays well, you give him credit. If he doesn't play well, you bring it to the table. Period. Regulator, TJD took advantage of Plumlee. Yes, he did. AJ Cruz back in the win column. Clickbait, Moody got a DNP. Moody was actually out due to injury in this one tonight. I want to make sure I have the official designation on the box score here. As I look at it right here, I can't remember if he was technically active because the Warriors... Yeah, he was left knee injury management. So the Warriors are at a point right now where they're not playing Moody in back-to-backs. So clickbait, that one's for you, just the official answer. Moody was a DNP due to injury. That was relayed to everybody right before the game. And then Pods went out with an injury. Pods was not good in the first half. -17, one of the worst players on the court. But you look at his game, and he left at halftime. I'm looking for the note on him. What was it? It was a lower abdominal strain. And I think he was in position, though, by virtue of the way that he played. I think he was going to basically he was going to get skipped, I thought, in the rotation no matter what in the second half. But the injury made it a foregone conclusion to where he wasn't going to, he wasn't going to come back anyway, so it doesn't really matter. JD was good in the game tonight. And I think what we're starting to see, and I said this a couple of days ago, we're starting to see the best versions of how this thing can function, even though it's been a little clunky and the Warriors have lost some games. This Warriors team plays better when TJD starts at the 5. This Warriors team plays better when they get production from Kuminga off the bench and playing the 4, even if it means he plays a ton of minutes like he has the last couple of nights. This team is, at its best, I think, when those things are happening. I think this team's at its best when Stephen Curry's rotation is not having 2 subs a half. I thought the game was going to get away from the Warriors when he went out for that second sub, middle of the fourth quarter. I hate the second sub. in the fourth, when he goes out in the middle of the fourth quarter and the game is hanging in the balance and he's got to sit for 2 minutes. That is something that I think has been done because of Curry's knees, has been done because of Curry's age, but I think they've got to figure out a way to get Curry back to 1 sub per half. Play the first 9 and then sub out for 6 and then maybe play the last 9 and that's 36 minutes. I get they want to keep him closer to 30 than to 36, but maybe it's play the first 8, sub him out for 8, and then play him the final 8 at that point. And that's more like 32 minutes as opposed to 36 minutes. But I think that's the way that a lot of this has to add up. 808 KNBR, more from the phone lines. It's Tasha in Houston joining the conversation here on the Sports Leader. Hey, Tasha.
Hey, John. Nice to be on this night. I'm calling from Houston. I am, but I'm a Bay Area native. But I just wanted to chime in. I just think it's time to let Kuminga flourish. Like, put him in. Buddy Hield is told. It's a known fact that he does not, kind of get his shot going after a while, after you've been on the team for a while. He did it in Philadelphia.
If he's not making shots, he probably shouldn't be on the floor, Tasha. I think that's the simplest way to put it. And tonight he wasn't making shots, and he only played 15 minutes, but his bad
it seemed like
is
forever.
really I was just going to say his 14 felt like 25 because it was that bad when he was out there.
Exactly. I totally agree. Well, anyways, I enjoy the show. I'll be paying attention and listening.
Thanks, Tasha. Appreciate it. Out in Houston, 808 KNBR. Look, Kuminga's playing. 37 last night, 34 tonight. Like, he's going to get opportunities because this Warriors team needs him to have those opportunities. At this particular point in time. Back to the Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line here. 408, JD, do you expect a trade at this point? I still think the Warriors are looking to make a move. Do you think it'll be sometime in January or not until deadline day? I'm reluctant to even throw this out because people are going to say, oh, there you go, JD, you're trading away Kuminga again. But the cynic on Kuminga, the true cynic, and I'm not even to this level, but I've heard it from a few others tonight. Hey, trade Kuminga while the stock is up. Again, tonight is a clear-cut example of why it's more difficult than meets the eye to just send him packing. I think the Warriors, if they could get a star-caliber player, would make a move tomorrow. But, again, those players are not necessarily readily available on a night-in, night-out basis. I think where the conversation switches, and this is the calculus the Warriors have to do on a trade. You can right now only be willing to make a big trade for a star. And again, I get why you wait that out. Part of the reason you wait that out is because you get one shot to do it. And there has to be a star available. You have to look to subtract players from your roster that'll bring that star back, etc. It has to all fall into place in a big way. And you get one shot to do it. So I understand why it takes time to make that kind of a trade. As you get closer to the deadline and continue to evaluate this team, however, you have to make the determination if you're the Warriors, do you look to make more of a modest move? Do you make a move for role players? Do you make a move for high-end starting caliber role players and accept that the deal isn't there to be had for the starting player that you want, or the all-star player rather that you want, and you're willing to make a deal to get another player who might be a fit for what you've got in mind, but isn't necessarily that superstar player. Again, and then that leads to waiting and waiting and waiting, and the risk as far as waiting goes is other teams might make a trade for a star, or other teams might not make a trade for a star, but you can't get your act together on the trade you want to make for a star, and then other teams go get all the best role players, and then you wind up stuck. That's the position you don't want to be in. You want to be patient. You want everybody's value to be high. You want to make sure that you flesh out every opportunity for a player such as Jonathan Kuminga to be able to work in the best ways possible, like tonight, to help this Warriors team win. But then you also are up against the clock, which is February 6th. But it's not just February 6th. It's up against the clock with some of these other teams that are looking to potentially make moves as well. So that's the part of the equation that Mike Dunleavy and Joe Lacob and Kirk Lacob and everybody has to fit into the conversation. 808 KNBR. CA, I did not do that, by the way. I did not. JD going to come in hot, tell us the time to make the JK trade since he's been playing well. I did not do that. Let the record reflect. And yes, we are at Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City here tonight. Appreciate everybody jumping in on the YouTube chat here. A lot of our regulars, Enrique Rivera, AJ Cruz 75, Estimated Eyes, Clickbait, I love you. Even though I don't always agree with you, it's okay. Where's my guy Bill M tonight? Bill M should be all over the YouTube chat tonight. Biggest Kuminga fan going. Now, Jonathan Kuminga was superb in this game. And, yeah, it was what needed to happen for the Warriors to win this one. Rebel to Sounds, what's up, JD? What's up, KNBR crew? KM Johnson, JK needs to keep playing like this consistently. Well, that's part of being a young player. You don't play that way consistently. That's part of it. Part of it is there are going to be ups and downs, and that's a big part of the reason why I'm not one of these guys that wants to anoint every time he has a great game, because the next game may not be a great game. And when you anoint every time he has a great game, then you look like a fool. Then you look like a fool when you do that. 808 KNBR 415 808 5627 as the Warriors get the win 109-105 over the Phoenix Suns. Warriors now 16-15 on the season, back in action against Cleveland, and that's going to be a good test. And I think that is a big part of the reason why this game was so important, the fact that that game is going to be huge for the Warriors, and why you had to get this win. Enrique Rivera, bet other teams are calling about Kuminga now. Yeah, I mean, again, that is what you're hoping for if you're the Warriors, is that teams are calling and you can keep ramping up that price to where it makes it maybe more worth it. All right, let's go ahead and take a quick break. Drew, before we get to the break, you can't trade JK for anyone that's better than him. It's a coaching issue, JD. It's a rotation issue. You can trade JK for someone that's better than him. You probably could. Again, it's not him alone because of the salary, and I know a few people had said that in the YouTube chat. Cam Johnson's better than him, and I think, but Kuminga as a prospect to Brooklyn is more beneficial to their timeline. So you can, but again, tonight makes you wonder if it's really worth looking at. And as Lance Malone says, do not trade 0-0. That's part of being a middling 500 team. Every night it goes one way. The next night it goes the other way. But I can't imagine coming in, and if the Warriors had lost this game tonight and Jonathan Kuminga had scored 30 points and Stephen Curry with the turnovers and couldn't hit the dagger shot and KD hits one more bucket down the stretch and maybe they lose the game. People are funny, man. Varez Tower, John, are you ready to apologize to Kuminga? I don't owe Jonathan Kuminga an apology. He played well. When he doesn't play well, I say he doesn't play well. When he plays well, I say he plays well. Pretty simple. It always amuses me that people don't get that or accept it. It's not, oh my God, I said Kuminga had a bad game one night, and that means I owe him an apology the next time he plays well. Do we do that with any other players on the roster? Of course not. All right, let's take that timeout. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Still time to get in on the phone lines. Harmonic is bustling tonight. Warriors get a big win. Appreciate everybody watching on YouTube and Twitch. It's Dubs OT with JD here on the Sports Leader.
This is KNBR, and this is Dubs OT with John Dickinson, streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
Steph on the kick out. Wiggins having that block. Got it back. Shot clock at 5. Shooter for 3. He's been 0 for 6. Bottoms at 3.
Yeah, Dennis Schroeder's only 3-point make of the night, 1 for 7. He ends up with 11 points. It was a big one. Gave the Warriors the lead late in a game they win by 4. It was 104-103 at that point after Mason Plumlee had hit a couple of free throws to put the Suns up by 2. Schroeder with the 3, and the Warriors end up winning this one 109-105, another career game for Jonathan Kuminga as he goes for 34 points in the second consecutive night, but tonight, impactful. Points off the bench and more meaningful because he did it largely playing with Stephen Curry and Draymond Green. We're back here on Dubs OT with JD here on the Sports Leader, 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627 is the number to join the conversation. Give us a call or shoot us a text here. I'm going to give Dalton Johnson of NBC Sports Bay Area a nod here because he put the numbers out. Schroeder, Curry, Wiggins, Kuminga, Draymond Green. 9:53 together tonight on the court, a plus 11, outscoring the Suns 25-14. That is the play your 5 best players. If you're Steve Kerr lineup, and we're going to hear from Draymond Green post-game, he admitted on the record what we've all kind of known, and that's the fact that he prefers to not play a ton of center. But him playing center is what unlocks Jonathan Kuminga because it allows him to play with the other best players on the Warriors roster, and it allows him to play the position at which he is most successful, which is the power forward position. That group won the Warriors the game tonight. That group of 5 should be the Warriors' closing lineup probably 9 times out of 10 down the stretch in games if this team's going to try to get on track. I understand maybe not wanting to start that way, and not starting that way allows Draymond a little bit of a breather, at least at the beginning of the game, from not having to play center. It allows TJD to make an impact on the game in a positive manner, which he has done more of. So I'm okay with it, but that's got to be your closing lineup for the time that Kuminga is going to be on this roster. Steph, Schroeder, Wiggins, Kuminga, and Draymond Green at the center. Yeah, Chip Tingle. There is our buddy Chip Tingle. No anointment, but tonight is largely sustainable. Even if you get more from Dennis, Schroeder, Hield, Waters, and Wiggins, no question. And yeah, tonight looked like it was, but I always kind of think it's funny, the alternate show universe. Like, what would be the show we'd be talking about if the Warriors had not won the game? I kind of play that out of my mind at different times, usually during commercial breaks because I'm a sicko. And I'm thinking, man, if the Warriors end up losing this game by 2, what are we talking about tonight? We're talking about Andrew Wiggins, 3 for 12 and 1 of 6 from 3. We're talking about Dennis Schroeder, 1 of 7 from 3. We're talking about Buddy Hield, 1 of 7 from 3. We're talking about Brandon Pajemski in the first half being a minus 17 in 11 minutes before being injured and not returning in the second half. I mean, that would be the story. We'd be talking about how Kuminga can put up numbers but doesn't necessarily translate to wins. That probably would come up. But we're talking about none of it because the Warriors outscored the Suns 27-18 in the fourth quarter. And they really did it with their defense down the stretch. Exceptional defense. That 5-6 minute mark to about the 1.5, 2 minute mark, the Warriors defense was outstanding. Flying around, making stuff happen. And the Warriors also won for the first time this season when trailing going to the fourth quarter. The Warriors had been a donut an offer when trailing going to the fourth quarter so far this season. I think 0-12 were the Warriors when they were behind going to the fourth quarter. S in the YouTube chat. There isn't a trade out there where the Warriors get a difference maker for Kuminga. Keep him, trade Wiggins, Payton, and Looney. Yeah, Wiggins is the Warriors' best point of attack defender. I don't think they're going to make a move involving Wiggins, in an attempt to. If you trade Wiggins, you don't have a 3 on your roster unless you're bringing a 3 back. The only trade where it makes sense to move Andrew Wiggins is a trade involving Jimmy Butler. That is the only, because you would be getting a 3 back at that point. So that would be the only trade. Like, you're not making a Wiggins trade for a center. You're not making a Wiggins, because then you don't have a point of attack defender or a 3 that can start. San Jose Jazz fan 4, Kuminga still isn't active, alert enough on the weak side defense and rebounding. Well, he's rebounded the last couple of games. I'm going to give him credit there. I'll push back on that a little bit. He does fall asleep on help defense, and that's okay. But, it is something he's got to get better. But if he's doing the other things, you can live with some of those mistakes. That's really the reality of the situation. And the contract, as a bunch of people have relayed here in the YouTube chat, makes it difficult to move on from Kuminga. $7.6 million on an expiring deal, and somebody that regardless of what his money winds up, is going to be making significantly more than that next year for someone. Maybe with the Warriors, maybe not. But Kuminga would be part of a deal with a lot of other salaries that would be included in it. And those salaries would add up to either a star player, I think, at a perfect world, or high-end role player in a different world. But tonight, again, Kuminga doing the job and making you not want to look to potentially move him when he plays at that level. Verez Tower. Anyone hear Draymond telling Heel to wake the bleep up or sit the bleep down? Oh, yeah. We talked about that. We talked about that early and often here on Dubs OT with JD here on the Sports Leader. 109-105, the final. Warriors basically starting their season over tonight after going 3-12 in the last 15, going 12-3 to begin the year. G says, I would trade Wiggins and Pods for Vucevic in a heartbeat. Well, then you don't have a 3 on your roster. I don't see. And again, here's the other part of the equation. The Warriors do not view Jonathan Kuminga as a 3. He played the first 3-4 games of the year at the 3. He basically has played almost no 3 since. So they are not making him. They just now on December 27th and 28th are getting him locked into his best and most efficient role for this team, where he's contributing these last 2 games playing the 4. Now you don't go say, we're going to have you play the 3. That would be a disservice to Jonathan Kuminga at this point. So maybe they get Vucevic, but I don't think Andrew Wiggins is part of a deal to get Vucevic. What you want is Vucevic with Draymond Green, Wiggins, Schroeder, and Stephen Curry, at least for now, and Kuminga coming off the bench. But Vucevic as an option to play down the stretch in games where either you don't have Draymond Green, you play him and Kuminga together, or on nights where Kuminga doesn't have it, because there are still many of those nights over the course of a season where he doesn't have it. 808 KNBR, 415-808-5627. Yeah, we were talking a lot about Bogut earlier. Bogut was extremely skilled. He was not just a stiff that set screens and was extremely physical. He was an excellent defensive player, excellent passer, excellent screener, could score a little bit around the basket as well in the early part of his career. Not as much of that unless the plays were made for him during his Warriors tenure. But yeah, that he was somebody that helped do a lot of different things. Reed the Steed. TJD had some nice plays tonight. TJD was a big part of the Warriors' ability to win this game tonight. 16 points. I mean, if TJD scores 8 points tonight, the Warriors lose. Flat out straight. And they needed all of the 16 that he got them, just like they needed the 34 that Kuminga got them. And how about Draymond Green in the first half? 16 points for Draymond Green. And Draymond moving up the ranks into third all-time in franchise history in three-pointers made. Warriors also win when Draymond hits 3 or more three-pointers. Now 142-33 in the regular season all-time when Draymond makes 3 threes in a game. They needed all of Draymond's buckets, and Draymond ended up the night with, the 3 3-pointers made? 3 of 5 from 3 for Draymond Green. And he winds up at 702 3-pointers made for his career to this point, which moved him in front of Jason Richardson into number 3 all-time on the Warriors franchise list in terms of 3-pointers made. So it's now Steph, Clay, Draymond, 1, 2, 3 all-time in number of 3-pointers made in Warriors franchise history. That's pretty incredible when you think about it. And then Jason Richardson, how much has the 3-point shot become such a huge part of the NBA game? Well, Draymond Green's the 3rd all-time franchise leader for the Golden State Warriors in 3-pointers made. Draymond Green's made more threes in his career than Jason Richardson. Now, he's still got a ways to go to get at Clay's number or Steph's number, I say kiddingly. But, yeah, you look at the numbers and where was it at? Looking at 38-53 for Steph, 24-81 for Clay, and now Draymond at 702 with the 3 for 5 makes from 3-point range in this one. 808 KNBR 415-808-5627. It's Dubs OT with JD here on The Sports Leader as the Warriors get the win over the Suns, 109-105. Big night for JK, Jonathan Kuminga. We'll go ahead and pause here. How does this change the calculus as far as looking to make a trade? Does Kuminga immediately go untouchable with the back-to-back 34-point performances? Let's hear from the YouTube chat. Let's hear from the Golden State Lumber and Building Materials text line. We got Sounds of Dubs OT coming up here as well as we take a quick timeout on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Did you hear something?
Yeah, like a swoosh.
Yeah.
Dubs OT presents the sounds of silver. Streaming live on YouTube at KNBR 1045.
All right, welcome back. John Dickinson here from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. 808 KNBR, the number. Still time to sneak in a call if you'd like to jump in and join the conversation. Cheers to everyone out here at Harmonic Brewing. We got Julia and we got Mike at the controls here. Our final show from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City for 2024 with the 49ers game on Monday night. No show from Harmonic Brewing, even though the Warriors are taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers. We'll be back at Harmonic in 2025 on Thursday, and the Warriors have a lot of home games coming up. They play Philly next Thursday, and then Memphis a week from tonight, Sacramento a week from tomorrow at Chase Center, and then the Miami Heat are coming in on January the 7th. So the Warriors have a bunch of home games here coming up as tonight tips off a 6-game homestand, and they're going to play 4 here in 6 nights right off the jump in January from the 2nd through the 7th, and we're going to be at Harmonic for all of those. So stop by and say hi in January. Get yourself a Kolsch, get yourself a Prog Rock, and say hi to JD here on Dubs OT with JD here on the Sports Leader. All right, let's get to sounds of Dubs OT here on this Saturday night. Warriors win 109-105 over the Phoenix Suns, outscoring the Suns in the fourth quarter 27-18. As we often do, let's start with the head coach of the Warriors, Steve Kerr, and the headliner tonight, of course, was Jonathan Kuminga. Back-to-back career-high scoring outputs for JK. He was impressive in many more ways tonight than just scoring. Here's the head coach on Jonathan Kuminga's night.
I just think he's turning a corner. I just think he's, he's seeing the pictures well. He made a play late in the game where he swung the ball to Draymond, immediately pinned in for Steph, and Steph got a 3. He didn't make it, but that's the play where you have to recognize Steph's your teammate. You see he's cutting through the lane, swing the ball, and go set a screen for him. And those are the type of plays that if he makes, and he's doing what he's doing, getting downhill, getting fouled, getting to the rim. Now the mix, the blend of Steph, Draymond, JK, now it starts to really get powerful. And I'm so impressed with JK. It just feels like he's turning a corner, and he played so hard last night and again tonight. The rebound at the end, just before he got fouled, he came out of nowhere along the baseline to make that play. I think he had about 7 boards in the second half. It was fantastic, man. This is exactly what we're looking for, and it's fun to see him, deliver.
Yeah, I made note of that play where the ball got kicked to Kuminga, and Kuminga had been kind of rolling, and he was on the wing, and he didn't take the 3. He swung the ball and then set a screen for Steph. Draymond then hits Steph coming off the screen, takes a 3, and winds up missing the 3, but that was a notable play because I think a lot of the time Kuminga in that moment wants to just take that 3 or put his head down and try to drive and make a play for himself or pull up, and realizing that Stephen Curry is a weapon in those situations is just paramount. It is everything. And so that is an example of Kuminga seeing the game in a way that impacts winning and in a way that impacts him being on the floor with Stephen Curry and Draymond Green, because it was those 3 on that play. Ball gets kicked to Kuminga, reads the play, reads Steph, swings it to Draymond, sets a great pick. Curry comes off of it, and those are the types of plays that typically will lead to Steph Curry daggers. So excellent specific example from the head coach of the Warriors, Steve Kerr, as to what Kuminga was able to do in this one. And he thinks this could be a potential turn of the corner for the Warriors. And let's hear more from from Kerr. in detail about this surge feeling different?
This feels different to me. It really does. There's just a different force to his game. Last night you saw all the times he just ran the floor, ran through the catch and attacked the rim. The 9 rebounds tonight, the timely plays that he made, it just feels different. It feels like, he's figuring out how to impact winning, which is obviously the main thing.
Boom. Figuring out how to impact winning, better motor, I think, as well for Kuminga. And maybe that comes off the last night, knowing that he's going to get a ton of touches, but he doesn't know tonight that he's going to get a ton of touches. So that's what makes tonight more impressive, the ability for him to do it. And again, impact winning. That's what it's all about. Impact winning. Steve Kerr was asked, and I had a feeling this one was coming, about whether or not Kuminga, despite the back-to-back 34-point games coming off the bench, will he go into the starting lineup or remain coming off the bench? Steve Kerr addressed that post-game.
We're going to stay with this rotation. With him coming off the bench, it allows us to get our defense set with Draymond and Trace, and then he comes in and plays with both of those guys. That gives him the space he needs at the 4. But we closed tonight with him at the 3 defensively with Trace and Draymond, and that would be ideal if we can get to that point where we can play him, at the 3 and the 4. But I like where he is, and I think our team has a chance now to rebuild our momentum. I think this was an important win.
Yeah, and Steve Kerr also making an important point there. There were possessions defensively where he was out there and playing the 3, which is important because I think he is much more able to defend playing the 3 than he is, offensively playing the 3. He really offensively has to play the 4. Defensively, I think he's more of a point of attack defender, and it also allows the Warriors to give a little more size. But again, that's on Kerr in those specific matchups, being able to move players around a little bit, to be able to help, it's the offense defense late in games. So if he can be a defensive sub as a 3 down the stretch, that is an added element because it prevents Draymond from having to be the defensive center, allows Draymond to fly around and help because he's got Trace Jackson Davis backing him up defensively, and it allows the whole thing to function at a greater rate. So let's hear now from the man of the night, Jonathan Kuminga, and then we'll get a couple from Draymond Green as well, including Draymond addressing what happened with Buddy Hield. That's something that we've been talking about a lot here on Dubs OT tonight, and what the microphones picked up. Here's, though, first, Jonathan Kuminga. He was asked if the improvement here over these last couple of games feels different.
I feel like it is a natural process. Everybody in the organization playing a big part of it, helping me throughout every situation, including my coaches, including Steve, including my teammates, just trusting me, having that trust in me and stuff like that, And I feel like it's been like that all season, like I always say before, if you play great, they always look at that, but they don't see it when you just play normal, you try to win. But I feel like, I just been trying to win, that's all.
Again, I got to give Jonathan Kuminga credit here. Every time he's spoken this year, there's no arrogance, there's no attitude, there's no entitlement. There's no, sometimes I think it gets lost a little bit in some of the things that have been reported. There hasn't been a trade demand leak. I thought there potentially was going to be here within the last couple of weeks. And look, maybe there have been some conversations in private between his representatives and the Warriors organization, but it never got public. And again, every time Kuminga talks, he's soft-spoken, he's thoughtful, he says a lot of the things that you want to hear a young player say. that being said, I mean, internally, there are parts of the way this thing has gone down for him that whether I agree or we agree or agree to disagree as to how it's all been handled, there have been a lot of times where it's been frustrating for him to not get certain opportunities. And I think regardless of whether we agree to disagree on it, he has a right to feel the way that he feels about his game. And, we can discuss it and disagree, and that's okay. That's part of having a radio show and having a YouTube show and all of those things. It's conversation. We're talking sports at the end of the day. But I do think, Kuminga, when he has been up there, as difficult as it may be at times, he really has been incredibly respectful and on point in his comments as to not say the wrong thing. Now, some on the cynical side might say that's a little more calculated or whatever. I don't view it that way. Others have kind of said that to me. Like, wow, he's really making sure. I don't care. He's a young player. He's trying to find his way in the league. He's trying to get paid. I think he's seen other players that were drafted around him or after him who have gotten paid and wants to get his. Like, it's not a crime to believe that you're a pretty damn good player and want to get paid and want to have an impact. So, again, I know sometimes the conversations are blunt on this program as it relates to really all the Warriors players, but respect for Jonathan Kuminga and what he has brought to the table in a lot of these press conferences post-game. I think it's really, really respectable stuff. All right, let's hear a little triple play here from Draymond Green. Draymond Green. Where do we want to, Kyle, where do we even want to start with Draymond? Like, there are three. I feel like every time the Warriors win of late, which is like, 4 times in the last 5 weeks, basically going back to a month or so ago. But every time they win, I feel like it's unbelievable Draymond at the podium just spouting off about everything. I mean, where do we even begin with Draymond tonight, Kyle?
No, I think we should go with Qatar, the one on Kuminga, just because we've been talking about Kuminga here, and then we'll transition.
Yeah, okay. So Kyle Har at the controls in our San Francisco studios. We got Anthony Garcia doing a great job making sure we get all this cut up and bring you the best of Dubs OT and the best of the sound. All right, here's what Draymond had to say about Jonathan Kuminga responding to being challenged by Steve Kerr. Here's Draymond.
You go through things in this league. The path to the top for everybody is, I don't think really for anyone, but I know for everyone, it's not linear. There's dips and peaks, and then you dip. That's the nature of the game we play. You got a lot of great guys in this league. If you want to put yourself in that category, James Harden, who we played last night, one of the greatest players this game has ever seen. It's been 3 years, coming off the bench. What did he turn out to be? So everyone's path isn't straight up. Steph Curry's first 4 years, 3 at least, weren't the most glamorous 3 years. And where is he today? So we all get caught up in the here and now, judging everything as it happens, not give things a chance to play out. And that's just the world we live in, where everything is under constant scrutiny, and it creates that. But I just hope that he stayed committed to his process on his path to greatness. If he stays committed to his process, which I have zero doubt that he will be great.
Well, there you go. Draymond Green, as always, right on point. And CA bringing it up. He sounds more mature this season. Look, I just think Draymond's a great quote. He's introspective. He's honest. He's not a perfect human. Andis Brown, trust the process. Draymond's not perfect by any stretch. He's flawed. He's done some stuff over the years that had been just blatantly out of line. But he always gives you an honest assessment of every situation. And, I mean, we've come to kind of joke about trust the process, but, it's on Jonathan Kuminga ultimately to become the guy that Jonathan Kuminga believes he can be. And I think the Warriors, it's a lot easier for the Warriors if he's able to do it with the Warriors. It's a lot easier on the Warriors if he just becomes a dude. Now he's running out of time here in the next 5 weeks, basically, where they're going to have to, in some form or fashion, make a decision. If not, they're going to have to pay him 9 figures over the next 4 to 5 years. But I think that works in line with what we were just talking about with Kuminga, which is the fact that I think he has certainly not always been happy about the way things have played out, but has stuck to trying to learn under the circumstances and improve his game. And I think that's commendable because the talent is there. The athleticism is there. You can see what Jonathan Kuminga brings to the table when he's doing the things that impact winning and work in conjunction with the rest of this Warriors team. Now, a big part of that is Draymond Green's ability to play center, so Jonathan Kuminga can play the 4 where he thrives offensively and can attack. And by the way, all these clips we appreciate via NBC Sports Bay Area, the ones we played to this point. This one via Anthony Slater of the Athletics Twitter. We're going to rip it and roll it. Here's what Draymond had to say. He said the quiet part out loud, even though everybody kind of in the room has known this. And it's a big part of the reason why Kuminga's come off the bench and Draymond was coming off the bench and Kuminga started at the 3, even though that's not his natural position. It's all because Draymond ain't exactly feeling playing center. Here's what Draymond had to say post-game.
We got to do what we got to do to win games, whatever that looks like. For me coming into the season, I'll be honest, I didn't want to play a ton of 5. It's hard. And it was working. We were 12-3 or whatever we were, and it was working. When it's not working, you have to look at what works. And if that's me at the 5, like I said, I don't love it for entire games at this point, but I love to win. So, and more importantly, I hate to lose. So that's what it looks like. That's what it looks like. You gotta win games, or I told the guys we all gonna get traded out of here, so we better win some games.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. I mean, whether he wants to do it or doesn't want to do it, I think the key takeaway there from Draymond Green, and look, he admitted it, the fact that he didn't want to play a ton of 5. It's hard. He didn't love it for entire games, but wants to win. And I think the Warriors, among all the different things they were trying to balance, Draymond doesn't want to play the 5. You want to get TJD in there. You want Kuminga to flourish. It led to some lineups that haven't exactly fit because you're trying to please all these different, I'm going to use the term agendas, but I don't mean it maliciously. It's just you're trying to find the best things that work for the team, but also the best things that work for the individual player. And those two things can work hand in hand. And I think the best thing for the team is to not have Draymond Green playing a ton of center all the time. But worse for the team is having Jonathan Kuminga play the 3 at all. And so you got to figure out ways to make it work. And I think at times figuring out how that's going to work has led to the Warriors maybe not winning as consistently as anybody would like. So that then becomes problematic, and Steve Kerr's got to continue to tinker and do all of these things. Let's get one final clip from Draymond here on Dubs OT, and it's the big one. It's the one that everybody saw. Draymond and the NBC Sports Bay Area audio caught this. Draymond yelling, "Wake the bleep up or sit the bleep down" to Buddy Hield. This happened in the third quarter. And Draymond addressed it, and here's what Dre had to say.
Anything I'll say it right into the mic. I don't give a damn. So it was needed. And we need Buddy Hield to play great. We need Buddy Hield to make shots. And we have all the confidence in the world that Buddy will make shots. But we got a post feed, and you got a 6-foot guy, and you get the ball there. It's simple. We're 16 and 15. We don't love this. So do we just keep doing the same thing and sit back on our hands like, oh, it's going to change at some point, or do you make it change? I know what it looks like to win. I know what it takes to win. So as a leader, it's on you to figure out what it takes to help this team win. And if that's mixing it up with a guy every now and then, that's yelling, then you do that. But don't be the guy that can't be yelled at. And I'll never be that guy. You know, a teammate yell at me, great. I may say something back. Oh, well, guess what? Buddy said something back to me. We're not dictators. It's just what you say doesn't go and everyone has to listen. No, he said something back. I said something back. He said something back. I said something back. Great. And we moved on. And that's how it's got to be. It's not always going to be peaches and cream, whoever thinks that are idiots. Lost 3 in a row. And we have a turnover in a critical part of the game where we need to get a good shot. Let's get that shot. You know? I've happened to play a lot of championship basketball, a lot of meaningful basketball. Buddy hasn't had the opportunity to play a bunch of meaningful basketball in this league. Guess what? It's our job to make sure he understands what that means. And if people don't like it, so be it. That's why they don't have 4 championships and I do.
I mean, I think I said it last night, Kyle. Michael Malone's my spirit. I mean, Draymond Green might also be kind of my spirit animal. Like, I mean, that is, again, I know it rubs people the wrong way. I know at times it's maybe even inappropriate. But, I mean, just the first part of this, I'll say it right into the mic. I don't give a damn. It was needed. I mean,
anything I'll say it right into the mic. I don't give a damn. So.
I mean, that is truer words never spoken. And you know what? It's the appreciation and the acknowledgement that it can go both ways, right? He can say something, somebody can say something back.
No, he said something back. I said something back. He said something back. I said something back.
I think we're continuing to add to our Dubs OT close, by the way, because again, these need to be in the. It's like JD say something, Bill M say something. JD, Bill M. We're talking about Kuminga, CA, Andis Brown. Andis Brown say something, JD say something back. San Jose Jazz fan 4 will say something, JD will say something back. Enter the Draymond will say something. Max Lopez will say something back. Drew Down will say something. Estimated Highs will say something back. That's how we roll on Dubs OT. It's a community. It's okay. Nobody needs to get offended. EB here will say something. Estimated Eyes will say something back. It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, and he did yell at KD. KD was watching the whole thing go down. No question. San Jose Jazz fan 4, Drake can't handle the chat. Jason Mishler says something.
No, he said something back. I said something back. He said something back. I said something.
Puco Sports says something back. That's just how we roll. Pine Needle says something. Reed the Steed says something back. Unbelievable. I mean, Draymond just true to himself. Like nobody. Real one. Like nobody ever in the history of the game. Again, he's gotten out of pocket. But it was great. CA, it's gotten to the point where I either got to drive back up or I got to get JD to cover an LA game. I will be in LA, CA, on February 6th. I was supposed to go last night over in Inglewood. I was at Intuit, as Robert said back on November the 18th. I was supposed to be there last night, and there was a late schedule conflict with a flight, and so we dipped on it. But I will be there February 6th, which is actually the trade deadline day. February 6th, Warriors at the Lakers at Crypto.com Arena. I will be in the house for that one. So, yeah, come on over. Come on over to the Crypt in downtown Los Angeles on Feb 6 and step right up after the ball game, and I'll be there doing Dubs OT. All right, 808 KNBR. That is our Sounds of Dubs OT here for tonight. Let's go ahead and take one more timeout. We'll come back. We'll have some fun with numbers. We'll tie a bow on this one. We'll relay where the Warriors are in the standings and more from the YouTube chat as well. Final 10 minutes for your boy here. Your boy hadn't had a day off in about 8-9 days. So I'm looking forward to Sunday here and what's coming up with the Niners not playing until Monday and the Warriors not back in action again until Monday as well. So we'll wrap things up from Harmonic Brewing right after this. Dubs OT with JD here on the Sports Leader.
No, he said something back. I said something back. He said something back. I said something back.
This is Dubs OT with JD. Time now for fun.
I'm a fun guy.
With numbers.
No, I'm just having fun.
On KNBR 104.5 and 680. Streaming live on KNBR.com and the KNBR app.
All right, final segment from Harmonic Brewing in Thrive City. Cheers to everyone out here as still going strong out here for Dubs OT with JD here at Harmonic Brewing. Warriors win over the Suns, 109-105. Final segment for you before we get to fun with numbers. Before you get to fun with numbers, let's get a little bit more in the chat. I always like to make sure we get everybody in. Yeah, thank God no Niner game. Thank God no Niner. Yeah, I'm looking forward to no Niner game tomorrow, although we're making up for it on Monday when the Warriors are going to be taking on the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the Niners are going to be home. Folks are on JD tonight. That's okay. People can get on JD. San Jose Jazz fan 4. JD is optimistic. Estimated eyes. Where's Gregory? Yeah, Greg. This was supposed to be a Greg Silver night, and he had a little schedule snafu. I don't know what Greg's schedule is on Tuesday, but because we're not going to have a Dubs OT on Monday, it's very disappointing. Or should we do? You know what? Let me throw this out to the chat. I'm going to throw this out to the chat. Big thanks, Joe Schmo. Big thanks to GSW Vera. Should we, and Kyle, I'm going to ask you, because I know you're working the Niner game on Monday as well. Should we do a Dubs OT stream only off of the Cleveland game at like 10 o'clock? Do the people want it? Do the people want it? Should we? And it would be, and Kyle, you get a vote in this because you got to run the board for the Niner game, and like it's a long day. Kyle gets up at like 6 o'clock in the morning and works till like 10 o'clock at night. Well, on these Niner game days.
Estimated Eye says I live for Dubs OT.
Well, okay, so I'm just gonna ask the chat, like, quick vote right now. I'm gonna scroll right through. If we do a Dubs OT at 10, so we're talking maybe 90, or not, I guess not 90, maybe a half hour to 45 minutes after the game, are the people in for it? If we did an hour, would you be in for it? Well, it unfortunately can't be at Harmonic. I would be in the Levi's Stadium press box at that point, probably in the studio at Levi's. So 10 p.m. So it would be, again, it wouldn't be right at the final horn. Game probably ends 9:30. You could do 2 hours, estimated eyes. Jason Mishler, always. Larry, yes. Everybody needs a debrief, but like 30, 40 minutes tops. Okay. So maybe we do a short one, like a podcast. We'll see if Greg Silver wants to maybe hop in. We could do a little three-way stream. We get Kyle's takes on everything. We get Greg's takes on everything.
Well, I mean, if the Cleveland Cavalier game goes the same way it did last time, I think we'll only need 30, 40 minutes tops.
Okay. All right. That's true. I tell you what, if the Warriors lose by 40, we'll skip it. Like, we can keep it. And I was also debating maybe we go live on New Year's Eve, because I think we're running bowl games from like 9 in the morning on. So I was thinking maybe we do like a 10:30, 11 o'clock New Year's Eve in the morning Dubs OT. But the people are kind of digging it. The people are like, yes. EB here. Do it, JD. You say something, I'll say something. You say something, I'll say something. We'll get Draymond to say something.
No, he said something back. I said something back. He said something back. I said something back.
All right. I mean, hey, if the people want it, and we'll send out the links, and we could do a notification. I can have the digital guys, if you get your KNBR notifications, push notifications, where you can just click on it and head right into the stream. Andis Brown, line of the night. Andis Brown. I'm not going to read it, Andis. I want Michael Malone to read it.
No class, no balls.
No, all class, all balls, all class, all class, all class. Appreciate you, Andis. All right, let's do some fun with numbers. Andis, you can drink 49ers Gold Bar whiskey after the Cavs game. I do have a bottle, an unopened bottle, Andis, of Gold Bar whiskey. Sitting at the crib right now. I have ready to be opened. And maybe a little Gold Bar whiskey sipper for Dubs OT after dark from Levi's Stadium at 10 o'clock on New Year's Eve. All right. The people have spoken. If the regulars want it, then I think, Kyle, we have to do it. But again, Kyle, you get a vote because you will be the guy that'll have to get it all set up.
Let's do it.
All right, Kyle Haar's in. Kyle Haar's in, everybody. We are in. By the way, back on the air 6 o'clock in the morning on New Year's Eve. So which is totally fine. Yeah, 10 p.m. So we won't be able to get to it because Niner postgame, that game's going to end around 8:20, 8:30. We're probably on about 9. Yeah, but it's probably 10:15, somewhere in there. We'd be on the stream only. So yeah, it could be again for the people. We'll you know what? All right, we're gonna look to do it. We're gonna look to do it. Yeah, Kyle is young. Kyle can handle it. All right, some fun with numbers here to close out the Warriors 109-105 win. Warriors 3-game losing streak snapped. That's a good thing. 16-15. They have not dipped under 500 at any point this season. They're 8-7 at home. Man, they needed this win. Even the season series with the Suns, and beat the Suns for just the second time in, I think, the last 10, 11 games. Only the night before the Super Bowl at Chase with the Stephen Curry heroics late back in February have the Warriors recently beaten the Phoenix Suns. First time this season the Warriors have won a game trailing after 3 quarters. They were 0-12 when trailing after 3 quarters. A clutch win for the Warriors as well. Now 9-12. They've played the most clutch games in the NBA at 21. Within 5 with 5 minutes to go or less. 9-12 now. 15 of the last 17 Warriors games have been clutch. I always like to get the clutch stat in. Kuminga matched his career high for the second straight night. 34 points. First Warriors player to score at least 30 points off the bench in 2 straight games since Cazzie Russell. Cazzie Russell did it in 1974. What you know about Cazzie Russell, Kyle Haar? He had 35 50 years ago, and then 34 the next night at the Lakers and against the Lakers in a home-and-home back-to-back between the Warriors and the Lakers. Cazzie Russell getting it done off the bench. That was in March of 1974. And the last NBA player to score 30 or more off the bench, 2 straight games, as Colby White. 3 straight games he did it back in 2020 for the Chicago Bulls. So, yeah, Kobe White. I was going to say, it said Colby White on the sheet, and I'm like, no, it's Kobe White. Come on. C-O-B-Y. There was an L added there in my note here. But, yeah, Kobe White did it for Chicago. Trace Jackson Davis, second double-double of the season. His points were necessary. And then Stephen Curry and Draymond Green both on one tonight, looking fresh after their rest. But, yeah, one too many Kolsch's and Kobe White becomes Colby White. But, no, all respect to Kobe White of the Chicago Bulls. That'll do it. Big thanks to everybody in the YouTube chat as well as those who called, those who texted. Thanks to Anthony Garcia back in our San Francisco studios. Incredible job putting together our Sounds of Dubs OT segment. tremendous job for Kyle Haar in our San Francisco studios as well. Kyle, you get the day off tomorrow, right?
No.
Are you kidding me?
No, I don't.
You're working tomorrow, Kyle?
They did me dirty. I am.
I thought we're running NFL games, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind
it won't be too bad.
That's an easy money shift. They were like, we're gonna let Kyle get the easy money shift after.
So they say.
Doing Dubs OT. That's a shift where you can kind of Netflix and chill a little bit, right? Like, I mean, only you're gonna be watching the games. That's it. As far as shifts go.
Squid Game season 2 is out. I need to make some damage.
Yeah. So, all right. So for Kyle and for Anthony Garcia and for Austin Scott, come on over, Austin. Austin's back tonight. Austin's been off. Just say hi to the people. Austin Scott, all the KNBR socials, best in the business. Always like to get him a little FaceTime. We'll talk to you Monday night, apparently. We're doing this thing. The people want it, so we're going to do it. Even 45 minutes after the game from Levi Stadium, we're going to do a stream-only Dubs OT. Maybe Austin will jump in. Kyle Haar's going to jump in. And we'll do it for the people. So we'll talk to you Monday, and then back at Harmonic Thursday. Happy New Year if we don't get a chance to talk to you between now and then. Warriors beat the Suns 109-105. It's KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
AD wheeling, and Kuminga quick hands knocked it away. Kuminga running, Kuminga finishing. He's got 27.
Emirates Cup or bust.
Oh, hell yeah.
First of all, you got to start off liking each other.
I'm super cereal.
Big fat dub.
Ain't nobody going to stop me.
I just wake up and I can shoot it no matter if I'm playing or not.
But great win.
Who are these guys?
I love you, JD. Bye, sugar.
No, he said something back. I said something back. He said something back. I said something back.